up.
All right. Okay. I guess I'm ready. Oh, I start. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Santa, is that you?
Do you want to play this like a little kid? Or do you want to play it like straight Peterson? I don't care either way. I just wanted to give you the option.
Santa, is that you? Okay. I was like, man, I wish I could have Lily do this. Maybe in the edit, I'll have Lily do it if it works.
Yeah, have her just reread over your lines.
Okay. But for the live one, I'll do it as a kid.
Okay.
Santa, is that you?
Ho, ho, ho! Yes, it's me, Santa.
Do you have to say ho, ho, ho every time you meet someone?
Why, yes, little boy. It's a salutation among my people.
Your people?
Yeah, the North Polians, of course. We have distinct cultural mores, such as saying ho, ho, ho as a greeting, taming reindeer, and eating copious amounts of milk and cookies. Speaking of which...
Wait, are you just here to eat my cookies? Didn't you bring any presents?
Well, of course I got you presents, little boy. I got you exactly what you wished for this year.
What the heck? This is just an envelope. Full of V-Bucks? Santa, you're the best! This is literally the only thing I wanted!
Yeah, I know. I only needed a single reindeer to pull the sleigh this year.
You made Rudolph do it, didn't you?
I made Rudolph do it. You've just logged into the 3-Ho Gamer Show. Welcome to the 3-Bit Gamer Show. I'm JD.
This is Peterson.
And that honestly may be the only time you get JD Santa this year. But
he had to do
early.
it once, though.
It's early.
You knew it was coming. He always does it.
Abby lives for it. That's her favorite part of the year.
It's an early Christmas present. You're welcome, Abby.
Ho, ho, ho.
Live from the 3-Bit Gamer Show. The news.
All right, our news this week is brought to us by Crave Cookies. Crave Cookies is this cookie shop here in Utah and also in a lot of other places. If you go to cravecookies.com, you can check if there's a location near you. And while you're there, you can see their rotating cookie menu for this week. But because we love you and you're listening to this podcast and we have a special insider line into the Crave Cookies mind, we can tell you the cookies that are going to be coming up next week. That is December 15th to December 21st. These will be basically the last cookies. These are the cookies you're bringing to your holiday, your office holiday party. This is the menu. So coming up, we've got the holiday M&M Crave, peppermint hot chocolate, loaded peanut butter Nutella, red velvet Oreo, and the Grinch.
Which one was the Grinch? Do you remember?
I like to think it's like the Cookie Monster, but green, but probably not.
Yeah, I remember there was something else to it, but yeah, I was actually kind of bummed. The Grinch and the Cookie Monster, and is there cookies involved? Like, did the Grinch steal Cookie Monster's cookies?
Yeah, I think he
Cookie
got to
Monster.
Okay.
Grinch is very strong. Don't get me wrong, but
Grinch is crazy strong.
But Cookie Monster, I feel like he's crazy if you take his cookies.
Yeah, you're right. No cookies involved. Cookie Monster is just kind of like a nice guy.
He doesn't even care.
He's Bruce Banner, but yeah, you take his cookies, you're getting fucked up. Anyway, we are talking about cookies still technically, so this fulfills the obligations of our contract with Crave Cookies.
I love the thought that Trent is like holding us accountable for any of this.
He's got a timer. He's got a timer. He's making sure that we get the full 60 seconds of the spot.
Honestly, any branding person would probably be like, "You need to stop whatever they're doing. Like, this is this is not what we want."
Dude, can you imagine once Trent is like totally hired an entire like corporate infrastructure for this? for this company, and like a marketing person finds out about us, and they're like, "Wait, what?
What are you doing?"
You're like, "Dude, you have to." And we get a cease and desist from Trent's company
while he's on the show.
Yes.
That would be,
honestly,
honestly,
my fucking life.
that would be the
Best day of
best
my
thing
life.
that ever happened.
The whole podcast could just lead up to that and then just fizzle out, and I'd be like, "It was a good podcast."
That was what we wanted. We were trying to get a cease and desist the whole time.
We've been busting our asses here, saying stupid shit for years. So get on down to Crave Cookies and get your cookie on.
Hi, this is the Crave marketing person. What is that sound you do at the end of every? Get your cookie on. This is
no one says that. Why do you guys say that? That's not a Crave cookie logo or
Crave.
slogan.
And they're like, stop.
Getting the lawyers. Careful what you wish for. One of Steam's most wish-listed games was finally released, and it is not going well.
This was
this was a deep dive
week.
This is a deep dive. This is a game called The Day Before. It's supposed to be a post-apocalyptic. Actually, Peterson, spin that 6 seconds, the second clip. This will tell everyone what this game is, what they need to know about it.
Okay.
Welcome to the next generation of post-apocalyptic MMO open-world survival games like never before.
Like never before.
Like
it's just
never
like she just
before.
slips that in there at the end. What is it? Doesn't make any fucking
Welcome
sense.
like never before.
Welcome like never before. That's the structure of the sentence.
Yeah, that is. The other stuff is like the inside. Yeah, the welcome like never before. So I guess.
Yeah.
But she's wrong. Even if she is saying welcome like never before, I think No Man's Sky did this and did it better.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, so this is supposed to look like The Last of Us meets The Division. It's kind of like a Division clone, though. It looks a lot like The Division. And when I say looks like, I mean to say in the trailers that they've been releasing for years, because this has been suspected of being vaporware for at least a year. Last year, this was like middle of last year. They were struggling to complete the game, and so they asked people to volunteer to work on it for free game codes. They're like, "Hey, we got these issues with the game, and we're really I want to see." Yeah, they use volunteers who are paid with participation certificates.
I was like, "Hey, do you need a voice actor? I'll take a free code. I'll record 5 or 6 lines." They weren't in for that.
Company is called Fantastic, not Fantastic, because that has an A in it. Fantastic.
FN.
Fantastic's culture is based on the idea of volunteering, says the studio's official website. This means that every Fantastic member is a volunteer.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Actually, I like that more. We're going to call him Fantastic. So that's where we knew of this game, which is crazy. I don't know how this got so many wish lists.
JD, I had it on my wish list.
Oh, you did?
That's how I know. I went to go do a wish list review just like earlier this week, and I was like, day before,
what happened?
What was this? I don't know why it's on there. Sometimes I wish list a bunch of games.
Yeah.
That like just hit my radar. And so I was like, oh, I wish listed this one, I guess. I went and looked at it. Overwhelmingly negative reviews.
Yeah.
Which is why I was like, what is happening here? Which is how I ended up this.
That's so crazy that you had it on your wish list, because
I don't know why.
It's been at the top of the Steam wishlist charts for like a year. And in January of this year, Fantastic tweeted that, oh, there's like this 9-month delay we have because there's been a trademark dispute with the name. This is their tweet. Dear fans, right before the release, Steam blocked our game page at the request of a private individual because of the name The Day Before. As you know, our game was announced in January 2021. At the time of the announcement, the day before game trademark was available. And then they said that this person registered another trademark, and now they have to stop, even though they were just about to release the game. They're like, no, we're just going to postpone the launch till November 10th. They give a hard date. They're like, we have to figure this out. But you have a hard date of how long you think it's going to take you to figure it. So clearly that was bullshit. It was so clearly bullshit. In fact, that the Day Before's lead Discord mod for the game's Discord tweeted that they suspected none of the game was real. And they said the game announcer, they're like, I don't think any of this is real. So that was pretty funny. And that was kind of the ideas that people were suspicious that this was vaporware pretty early on. And then it was released like last week. And like Peterson said, overwhelmingly negative reviews because what came out is just like, it's like a nothing game. It's like, it's empty. There's like nothing. It's not even like a game necessarily. And it doesn't work. People just boot it up and no one could get in. Did you watch some of these clips of it?
Mm-hmm.
Like you start in the opening area and the second you gain control of your character, you clip through the floor and just fall through the skybox.
That's that I think the volunteer QA testers must have missed that.
They must have missed it. Did you see how much this cost, by the by?
The game? I didn't even look, if I'm being honest. Isn't it $40?
Insane. It's an early access game. They're saying we're releasing it in early access, so that's one thing, but $40 in early access? This was a scam. This was a fucking con.
So and like
17,000 people bought it, which is insane because that's how many negative. I just went and checked 17,787 reviews, 19% of which are positive. And it was the #1 streamed game on Twitch this week. 400,000 concurrent viewers on Twitch. People just watching this shit show. It's so bad.
What's funny too is like they pulled some of the trailers that they had originally posted for the game because it's nothing. Like it says it's an open world survival MMO. This is the only thing you can do is log in and play extraction mode, like The Division, where you go and get loot and get it extracted, and that's it. Mm-hmm. That is not open world MMO at all.
Craft.
There's no survival elements to it. So everything they promised, and that's why I compared it to No Man's Sky release, everything they promised is just not there.
Like never before.
And people are pissed. Yeah. Dude, so this game came out, just for context. I know you said there's set almost 18,000 reviews, 20% negative. This game came out 3 days ago.
Yeah, dude, that's like you said. Yeah, and this is an indie game, I guess theoretically, because this is an indie game. So that many, because how much Overwatch 2? I want to see how many reviews they had. Overwatch. Oh God, well I guess that doesn't really compare. They had 225,000, but that is however long since they released that. Oh man, that only came out on August 10th. Dude, Steam community is like.
Dude, they're not messing around.
They just jump on stuff and just beat it to death.
But the other way around too, like if your game is just an indie darling, they'll going
take to the moon.
To the moon. But if your game, if you don't deliver on promises that you made, you
will pay for it.
Gone.
Yeah, just nuked. Like there's no recovery for this. It clearly, like I said, was vaporware. It was like, I don't know what the gig was that they figured they could just like con enough people into making this worth it. They put together something that is barely it's just a shell of an idea, maybe a framework for making game trailers, but it's not a game. And they used, at least for the trailer, this whole trailer was like voice acted. And I think they used AI to write it. Like that thing the clip we listened to. Play the other one I cut out.
Here we go.
Mytona, the open world of the day before, is beautiful
AI
and
reading
richly
it.
detailed. Set in the present day on the U.S. East Coast, following a deadly pandemic.
Deadly.
The game begins after you are rescued by the survivors of the Woodbury colony.
This was written by
and
AI.
safe home.
From now on, the doors of Woodbury will always be open to you.
A deadly pandemic. Just, dude, any AI that just doesn't know where to put the emphasis on certain words is just going to read it like that.
Like, she like made it sound sexy or something.
They couldn't
like,
even pay a fucking
pandemic.
You go on Fiverr and get a female voice actor for nothing. $5.
Yeah.
And they couldn't even do it. This whole thing was a fucking con job. I think that's crazy. I'm so into this story. I think this is amazing. I think this is something we're going to see more often, dude. This is the mobile game ads that you see that are totally like cons and scams. And if you click on it, the game doesn't look like the ad at all.
Yeah.
That's reached Steam at a very high level now that you have the most wish-listed game on the entire platform is one of these. It's just the same thing with the fucking mobile ads. Like and I guarantee you if you went through these reviews, I was skimming and almost everyone had review or product returned or whatever. Refund issue as a tag on the review. So I don't know how many of these they actually kept. I don't know how many people. I bet there's tons of gamers out there that put things on their wish list, and when they release, they just buy them sight unseen because they have that type of money. There's people like that. We used to have it on this podcast. So I think they made a lot of money with this tactic, but they're never going to get away with it again.
Also, now that you're saying this, like, that this is just a scam. Like, I'm thinking of all of the tags in this. Okay. They just like said, okay, what are the top 10 Steam tags?
Play the clip, Peterson. Play the clip. You don't need to go through it yourself.
Welcome to the next generation of post-apocalyptic MMO open world survival games like never before.
Post-apocalyptic open world MMO survival. Dude, all hot games right now. Multiplayer is one they didn't say. That's on there. They didn't
say Battle Royale, which I'm like, wow, you guys missed out. You guys really missed out on the Fortnite crowd on your con. Dude, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Day before. Well done, boys.
They have an America tag on there. Is that a tag? Dude, we need to start adding...
East Coast to the U.S. Don't you remember? That's where the deadly pandemic
The U.S.
happened.
East Coast.
Who writes that shit? Sony declares you'll own nothing and like it by removing a bunch of movies that people paid for from their digital libraries. Dude, this is Nostradamus right here. Yes, this is why I've been telling you. You buy your shit in a physical copy or you will get it taken from you by the corpos when they deem fit, because you're not paying for the physical object, you are paying for a license. The terms of that license can change, as they clearly did here. Sony, this is the Discovery, the new shit that's been going on, everything that's happening to HBO and all that other crap with David Zaslav, whatever. This is part of that. And so whatever license that Sony previously had to distribute Discovery TV shows and movies lapsed, and they're not going to deal with it. They're just going to... They posted this. Did you see how this was posted? It was a brief hidden legal notice. This is under the legal site. So if you go to like PlayStation.com/US/legal, it literally is in the fucking URL. And this says, and it's tiny. It's so hidden. It says, quote, as of December 31st, 2023, due to our content licensing arrangements with content providers, you will no longer be able to watch any of your previously purchased Discovery content, and the content will be removed from your video library. We sincerely thank you for your continued support. Oh, you're welcome. I'm here for your continued
You know what? That's why I bought it. I just wanted to support your company.
I think Sony needs my support.
The thing I bought.
It's so fucking crazy. Yeah. So, for some context here, they did, in fact, stop selling TV shows and movies on their Sony store 2 years ago, which I always thought was weird. They were doing that in the first place. Who was going on and buying stuff?
I need to watch Lost. I'm going to buy it on Sony. I'm going to buy it on my PlayStation.
I'm going to buy it on my PlayStation because I want to watch Lost. But, you know, when they did that, this is the best part, is when they said we're going to stop selling those, they basically said, hey, you're going to have that stuff forever. Don't even worry about it. In fact, they didn't basically say that. I'll read the quote. When this change takes effect, users can still access movie and TV content they've purchased through the PlayStation Store for on-demand playback on their PS4, PS5, and mobile devices. We thank our fans for their continued support. Dude, they're so grateful.
They love that line.
Support. 2 years ago, they just used the same exact line. And we look forward to further enhancing the entertainment experience on PlayStation. So they say straight up, yeah, no, you'll have this stuff. You'll have it.
It'll still
and then they just pull the rug. Dude, this is fucking wild. Expect a lot more of this, because this is just one CEO at one company at Warner Brothers jumps in, starts fucking everything up like a pigeon in a puddle when they just start just kicking shit everywhere. Like, why are you doing that? It's like, I'm a fucking shitty pigeon. That's why.
I don't know. That's what I do.
You're getting shit everywhere. And he's like, I don't fucking care. I'm a CEO. Who's going to stop me? Now that level of capriciousness is applied to your digital libraries. Like, you don't know if all of a sudden one day some random fucking shithead is just going to walk into a company and be like, hey, you know what we're going to do? Change everything, and no one's going to own anything. Buy your stuff, guys.
But didn't we already get a cut of that money when they bought it? Yeah, we did. And now we're going to take it and we're going to post it somewhere else. So if they want it, they can buy it again. We can get cut number 2.
Dip. Double dip.
What I will say, if you have a digital movie or TV show library, there's a few ways to do it. Find out a way to download it and keep it somewhere else
on a hard drive. Yeah,
that's what my brother-in-law does. He just like gets movie codes, or like he'll download stuff because he's a pilot, and so he's just like sitting on flights, right? So he's got access to it on his iPad, so he can.
So he's like you, and he doesn't drive with his eyes on the road. He flies with his eyes on the little DVD.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
He's a pilot, so he's always watching DVDs when he's flying.
They just sit there
They just hit the autopilot button and then they just open up the DVD
Take a nap, DVD player, PlayStation, the handheld gaming system, whatever. Play the Switch. So but that's what he does. So he's got them all digitally. So find a service that does that, move them elsewhere so you have it on there. Do not rely on the storefront you bought it from to keep it there forever. They never do. That's not a thing. So even Amazon, which I would say is probably one of the more reliable ones because that's what they are. They have like everything, right? Even then, I would just be wary, right?
I owned one movie on Amazon because it was impossible to find. Even a DVD was like $30. So I was like, okay, I'll buy it for $5 on Amazon. But every time I'm like, they could just randomly decide I don't own that anymore. I don't want
it. What movie is it?
It's called Buck. It's a
movie you told me to watch that one, I think.
Yeah, it's a movie about a horse trainer.
Oh wait, no, you didn't.
He's like he knows horses.
I have 2, and I can't remember what the first one was. It was random. The second one was Dune, because I wanted to watch it, and the only way I could have watched it at that time was to buy it for $5 or whatever.
That's okay.
It was.
Wait, you're talking about the old Dune, right?
Yes. Yeah. Are you talking about that new piece of crap? No. Wasn't it David Bowie or who was on that one?
Or Sting?
Sting. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no Sting in it at all. The new one sucks.
Freaking Zendaya. She's not Sting.
Lame.
She doesn't even have the same clout.
Well, here's a bunch more layoffs to bum you out.
Guys, it is honestly, when we do the news searches now, every single week there's like new rounds of layoffs. It's crazy.
God, I'm so sick of it.
And I feel like we have to say something because
we can't not cover it.
Look, if we have to be privy to that information,
you guys
have to too.
You have to suffer with us and these people too.
Everyone. It's everybody.
Of them. So first up here, New World Interactive. These are the guys behind the Insurgency series. They were just straight up shut down by Embracer Group. 58 employees in Denver, Colorado. Gone. Fucked.
Dude, Embracer has openly said too they're gonna cut more. So like we will see more from them.
So that's really cool. UK developer Codemasters, they laid off an indeterminate amount of people. And they wouldn't say how many. That company has 700 total. So that doesn't even give us a good idea of how many. But it could be high.
Let's see. It's usually, if I guess, it's usually like almost 10%. It's been like our like 7-8%.
So between 50 and 100 was my guess. So that's about the same. Yeah. So that's great. And then this last one here, this one's really fucked up. This is a 15-year-old Australian indie studio, League of Geeks is what they're called. And they're laying off half of their staff of 70. Well, there's 31 total affected, so it's not necessarily half, but almost. They were at around 70 people. They were working on 2 games, Jump Light Odyssey and Solium Infernum. And they just had like a rough launch on one of these into Steam Early Access. Their launch on Steam didn't go super well. And they put an update, a dev update on Steam that I went and read. And it was really interesting. I'm just going to read a section here. Quote, unfortunately for us, in the last 6 months, almost all funding and investment has evaporated from the video game industry. Capital is more expensive and rare than it has been in over a decade, and the only projects being backed right now are surefire guaranteed hits. This is what we've been reporting on for weeks. We talked about how studios only want to do sequels and like IPs that are already existing and successful. And so they're saying, yeah, we didn't come out super strong on one of our games and now we're just fucked. And they said, and they're like, this isn't even a problem that like a Kickstarter campaign, and they said, or quote, somebody's rich uncle, like no amount of money can fix this right now because of how off the wheels the industry is. So that's a bummer. So those are all a bunch of new layoffs. Looks like we're probably going to be pushing up toward 8,000 for the end of the year at this rate.
Just keep it going. Keep it going.
Gotta pump those numbers up so a couple guys can get richer. The original designer for Waluigi released a mock-up for Wall Peach, and you can probably guess where this is going to end up.
Let's see. My initial thought, right out the gate, porn.
Right.
That's it.
I mean,
like, what else do you do with this character?
I mean, if Bowsette got it, and she wasn't even real.
Immediately. That was like a concept that one rando came up with.
And then it just went nuts. This is the Waluigi creator, Fumahari Aoki, and he dropped a couple designs on Instagram randomly before quickly deleting them. Classic.
That was a mistake, honestly.
What was he thinking? What do you fucking think this wasn't?
He didn't know.
She was, this is old. This is old as fuck because she was pitched by the Mario Golf studio Camelot after the success of Waluigi and Mario Tennis for the N64. I think that may be Waluigi's first appearance, honestly, was Mario Tennis. And so if you guys, and you remember our Super Mario RPG, how Trent's talked about how there's a shit ton of characters in that aren't related to Mario, and they haven't been outside of that game necessarily since. So I think Nintendo had a couple of years where they were kind of doing stuff like this, where you had a lot more freedom to just jack random characters into a Mario game.
Mm-hmm.
And you just put things like the letters W and A in front, and then you'd take WAL. It's not Wa Peach, which would make sense, sort of. If you guys remember, this is all stemming from Mario's enemy, Wario, whose name was, they just flipped
the M flip.
And so they're like, instead of making Luigi like 2EG, like evil Luigi's going against 2EG or something, they made him Waluigi. Makes not much sense at all. This one is like they're just fucking with us. Wall Peach. So they took the L from Luigi and the WA from Wario and just threw that on the end of, and then just
put her actual name, Peach.
So if they use another one, is it going to be Wulp and then something?
Wulp Yoshi.
Yeah, Wulp Yoshi. That's the evil Yoshi, is called Wulp Yoshi. What is happening?
Real quick, hot take. Wild Peach is not as hot as Bowsette. That's honestly, Wild Peach is...
Bowsette was thick.
Yeah, Wild Peach looks... Well, first off, she looks like she's 13 years old.
Which is kind of a problem.
Which is kind of a problem. Is a huge problem.
Yeah.
But also,
princess so young.
I just noticed in this tweet, it says, I know it's just going to be like Duranjo, so don't bother. I had to look that up. I didn't know what that was. But yes, that's a character that I guess they released and just became super horny for everybody. So...
Not when she looks 13, guys. This is Aoki said Wall Peach would act similarly to her fellow evil counterparts. She'd see Peach as her rival and have a, quote, scary personality when she got angry. Look, man, I'm here for Wall Peach. Yeah, I want it. I don't want her to be called Wall Peach.
No.
I don't want her to look 13 because she's going to be turned into porn. Doesn't matter when or how you release her.
Make her like this, like evil, like dark.
More
looking
spikes,
like witchy, almost like a witch-looking version of Peach. Have her hunched over a little bit. Like don't make her sexy. Like she's the opposite of Peach. She needs to be like a hag.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
And just like super creepy.
No one wants to fuck Waluigi, dude.
I mean, if it's between Wario and Waluigi, I'm hitting it Waluigi.
He's like hitting it with a skeleton, dude.
It's like hugging a skeleton.
It's like being tackled by a skeleton. Yeah, so you guys just give it a week or two. I did, unfortunately, do some research, and it's already been covered. Wall Peach.
We're already there, guys. We knew where this
there.
was going immediately. That's why he deleted it. He was like, "This is a mistake," and was like, "Too late. We're gonna make evil versions of every character, and they're all gonna be naked."
They're all. Ooh, I want to see if there's a naked Waluigi. Hold on.
There is. Wait, I want an evil Toad. That's what I want.
Okay, so I was joking.
Call him Toad.
And I don't recommend anyone Googling naked Waluigi. It's a very disturbing idea, conceptually.
Okay, stop me when I get there, though. Link. Oh,
there it is.
What? Dude.
He's a long guy.
He's a long guy. He is hung.
Bungie developers say that the atmosphere is, quote, soul-crushing amid layoffs, cuts, and fears of a total Sony takeover.
Dude, this one is
rough.
This one's like sad, if I'm being honest. This is one of the more sad ones.
Yeah, it's real bleak. This was an article in IGN, real deep dive. If you guys aren't into this, I'm going to be spending some time on this. So just fast forward like 10 minutes because this one I think, deserves some time. Because of what it is. You guys remember Bungie, the guys who made Halo, originally under Microsoft, and then they were acquired or maybe worked with.
They de-acquired themselves. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and then they worked really closely with Activision to help publish Destiny, Destiny 1, Destiny 2, were huge games, massive games. And then Sony acquired them in kind of one of the weirder twists.
We didn't think that would happen because they were like super proud of like, hey, we're an independent studio. Like this is what we do. We're doing our own thing.
Yeah.
And then they went and got acquired by somebody else. It was like,
yeah. And the best part is they signed on to this acquisition with the agreement that they would retain their independence that they so cherish. But if they fall short of certain financial thresholds, Sony can just dissolve the board and take full control of the company.
Shouldn't have done that.
So what this has done, if you guys could figure out, is set up an environment where they are constantly feeling as if Sony is looking over their shoulder and is about to take over the second they fuck up, just waiting for them. So there's a few, and I don't normally like doing this, but there's a few sections from this article I'm just going to read wholesale because I think they're important. This first one, quote, multiple current employees confirmed to IGN that the company has implemented numerous other cost-cutting measures recently, including a studio-wide hiring freeze, reduced travel budgets, elimination of holiday bonuses, keeping its annual Bungie Day virtual, delaying its week-long company pentathlon event to next December, and reducing numerous morale events such as cooking and knitting classes from monthly to quarterly. Also, yearly studio performance bonuses this year will only be the contractually obligated 80% minimum after being above 100% for good performances several previous years running. So the mood within the studio has, quote, been soul-crushing over the last month. So that's what they decided to do, is we're going to completely gut the company so that we don't have to turn the keys over, because the leadership is driving all this just to retain their own jobs and their own control. They don't care what happens to the company, to the people, to the games. That's not what this is about. This is all just about like politics and control. It's like crazy.
They're trying to not turn it over to Sony. That's what they're trying to do.
Which they're not trying to make a game or have a successful video game company. They're trying not to have the company turn over to Sony. Full stop, period, end of sentence.
And honestly, can I be honest? It's not going to be enough. It is not going to be enough.
But when Sony does take over, they will have a fucking shell, because these psychopaths that are trying so hard to fucking retain their position. And that's what I'm talking. It's totally about control and power. This is QA is facing a growing hostility from leadership, including a, quote, meeting in which QA was said to be referred to by leaders as non-developers. So they're like holding a meeting where they shit talk QA, tell them that they're all doing their job poorly, and that they have like they have a very small margin for error on the QA team, and do not dare call yourselves developers. That's just random. There's no fucking reason, business or otherwise,
like
to do that.
Like,
That's just being a fucking dick.
Like, we know you're not developers. It's like me saying to people at Boeing, like, hey, just FYI, you're not an engineer. You are part of our quality assurance team, not an engineer. And they're like, yeah, we know. Like, we know we're not developers. Like,
what the fuck?
Why'd you have to say that?
That's all it is, dude. The Bungie leadership team has lost the thread, and they have just gone total psychopath.
Here's what happened, JD. Here's what happened. They were, honestly, if you remember, when they were on their own, Destiny 2 is actually doing pretty good, releasing good content. They were doing well.
Yeah.
They're in feast mode. And Sony comes in. They're like, hey, we want to throw you some cash. And they're like, let's do this. Infusion of cash is going to be great. So they did. They do. They get acquired by Sony. And they make these stipulations because they are cocky. They're cocky as balls right now. Yeah. They are like, yeah, we're fine. Like, we're going to be totally fine. And then they released a couple stinkers in terms of like new content in a row. And now they're not looking so hot. The state of Destiny 2 right now is not good. Destiny 2 players are not happy. It's not good. They got cocky, made this deal they shouldn't have made.
Because it lined their pockets. You know damn well it lined their pockets.
And now they find themselves in this situation where the execs who are planning on staying around, because let's be honest, some of those really high ups probably don't care that much. They probably feel okay.
No.
Like, their gravy train is going to be over. They'll get a huge influx of cash.
And they'll go work at
gravy
Microsoft.
train is gone. They'll go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I promise you there's a handful of like executives who are passionate about the company and love being there and love working there. And they're trying to save this company as best they can because they made poor decisions and made a couple bad expansions in a row. Yeah. Now they're doing everything they can. It's not going to be enough. Like, these measures, they said, yeah, they're going to save some money, but it's not nearly enough to meet their quarterly profits. I mean, that's not going to help. They laid off on their own. Sony didn't tell them to. They were like, yeah, we're just doing these. It's not going to be enough. They're going to get acquired anyway. And like you said, now they're going to acquired by Sony, which is a morale buster. Like, that's, yeah. And the morale's already down. It's going to be bad. And even if it's like compared to other places, like, still pretty good to work there, you have effectively crushed your morale because you made bad decisions when things were going really well. You were too cocky, and they're all relying on this one thing. They're like, we're doing great. We're never going to do anything bad. And then they do. And now they're honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this was the beginning of the end for Destiny 2, as you know.
Oh,
as
you've known it. Done. I would be surprised. I mean, Bungie's banking it all on their next title, and that's their whole goal and hope, is that this next title hits. And I mean, come on, it's not going to hit. The people that are making this game, watching their buddies laid off, fired, mistreated, shit talked. I mean, this was a really good one for morale. This is a quote directly from the article. Employees in one department recalled a post-layoffs Q&A session where a department head was asked if leadership taking salary cuts to prevent layoffs had been considered, only to respond that Bungie was, quote, not that type of company. What does that mean? What, a good company? A company run by leaders that actually care about the people that they're ostensibly leading? We are not that type of company. What?
I think, like, because their mindset, this is what I think. Their mindset is, if we cut salaries from the top, we cut salaries across the board. When that's not what they're asking. And that's not what they're saying. They're saying, not what they you need to cut those crazy salaries. Yeah, those guys.
The huge bonuses you took when you closed the Sony sale.
Who are making $300K a year plus getting another $500K in bonuses plus. Like, have you considered that? And their mindset, I promise you, is if we cut salaries, we have to cut them across the board. So we're not cutting people's salaries. We're not going to do that. When you're like, that's not the consideration here. The consideration is cutting the crazy salaries. Yeah. Drop some of your E series. If you laid people off, get rid of an equal amount of executives, and that'll honestly make a bigger difference.
Company.
Okay, so can I give you my take?
Yeah.
That was just all thoughts that I had while going through this. Here's my take. First off, I laughed a little bit it was a dark humor type of laugh when I was going through this. But you know that meme or in that movie, The Ballad of, I can't remember, the
Ricky Bobby,
where he's like, James Franco looks over at the guy being hung and he says, "First time."
Oh, Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Yes. That's what this is me, because honestly, so I've been with Boeing for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And 10 years ago when I started, Boeing was on the up and up. We were crushing it. And then a bunch of crap happened and we just took a dive. I have been through similar cost-cutting measures like at least twice now. So they're like, no travel, nobody's travel, no overhead costs at all. Nobody's doing anything. You want to have a holiday party, everyone bring your own food. Like, in fact, we just had an employee family day. We had this awesome event planned. It was going to be $20K, right? My division has made the company millions this year. Like, we are crushing it. The company's not doing great, but our division's crushing it. We wanted $20K for a huge family event to like celebrate all this. And they were like, no, you can have $1,200. And we were like, we can't even feed everybody with, like, what are you talking about? So anyway, this is me going, oh, okay, first time, because but here's where it's different. And here's this thought that I had. Here's the problem with video game companies. They are doing one thing. They make video games. The companies that survive crappy games either are giant companies like Ubisoft making 9 games at once, or they have like Epic Games, right? They have something else going for them. They're selling a game engine, right? Just like my company, right? If one of our divisions is sucking, if the 737 is grounded for 2 years, right? We're not making any money, right? We've got other ways to make money. These game companies, one way to make money. They are putting all their eggs in one basket, which honestly is a bad business strategy. I think the future of video games, and we're starting to see this with all these acquisitions, is if you want to make video games, you need to have another source of income. You need to sell a game engine. You need to sell something else.
Mm-hmm.
Because
or do Fortnite, you have a ton of different sponsorships, cross-promotional things. Not to say that that's so accessible to everyone.
But again, even they have, Epic has their engine.
And they're building the EGS.
Right. They've got other ways. So if Fortnite is sucking, it takes a downturn, they're still making money. These companies, right? Bungie, if their expansion does poorly, they've got nothing else. And that's what we're starting to see, I think. They've got they said they released their game and then they're like, dude, this game made $1 billion. Well, now what? Like,
double down.
Like, what do we do now? And we've got nothing. We've got no income. No real income. Like, they're reselling games like, for a year or whatever, but the sales decline huge. They've got no other source of income. So they just start laying people off, getting rid of people. It's like feast or famine.
It's diminishing returns too. When you start laying people off like that, you're reducing your ability to do the one thing you do, which is make games.
So JD, in 10 years, I think we're going to have very few video game companies. We will have several Amazon game studios, Microsoft game studios, Epic Games, like companies who have other sources of income, Sony.
Well, I think the AAAs, you're talking about the AAAs, because at this size, you need
the little guys, though. But honestly, like, I don't know, Bungie's been around for a long time now, making this game, making tons of money. I wouldn't even consider them a little indie studio, right?
No, I'm saying they are the big guys. They are that need to diversify.
They've got to have something else.
No, it's the approach that they're taking, which is just gut the studios, cut everything, cut all the finances. It reminded me of this haunting webcomic I read once about this person that's an astronaut that's just like walking across a planet, and their spacesuit has been programmed to keep them moving. And so even though the person is like out of energy and they can barely keep themselves standing, the suit keeps them moving, and it extracts parts of their body for energy. So, the skin cells, the urine, it recycles that to keep them alive. Well, eventually there's no more energy left in the loop, and it takes the guy's arm. And then it takes his other arm. It's consuming him for the protein, the carbohydrates. Yeah, exactly. The suit is doing this, keeping him moving until he's nothing left but just like a head and some organs. and then it takes the rest of it. And then he's like, I don't even know. And it takes his eyes, and he goes, I don't even know if we got to where we were walking. And that's what this reminds me of, is if you just keep stripping parts out of it, like by the time that game comes out, the game that you're working so hard, is there going to be anything left? Is there going to be any
Is it even
soul?
worth it at that point?
Is it right? Is it worth it? Have you gutted the company so thoroughly that the products you're trying to make, you can't even make them right anymore? And it sounds like that's where they're headed, and they're heading there really rapidly. So
they're going to be made by AI, just like the suit, right? It's just going to be like, honestly,
keep them moving.
I do think video games is at a weird point right now. It feels like the industry is now at a reckoning a little bit, where they have to change, and I think they're struggling.
They're fighting hard against it. All the big studios, studio heads, AAAs, they do not want to change, and
it's honestly not going in a great place, right? But this is what what we demand. Like, we want amazing, giant, beautiful games. And they're like, well, yeah, to do that, it costs tens of millions of dollars to do that. And it takes us a dozen years.
Those are all lies, because take note that every gaming executive out there would rather burn their fucking studio to the ground than change.
Oh,
period. So,
they're like, great. Oh, there's no need to change. And the people who are going to take over and change are not the ones you want. I think that's, So I think we're in a rough spot. I think we're keeping a rough spot, except for, like we've been saying this whole time, indies are going to
the ones that survive this.
Indies are going to be the heart of gaming. I promise you, in 10 years, indies are going to be the heart and soul of gaming. Everything else is going to be like
2 years. There's not going to be anything left in 2 years. AI is going to take over the AAA industry, and they're just going to completely run that train into the ground.
We will get some good sound bits for Madden 2032.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be real bad
good stuff. Here we go again. No Man's Sky's developers are working on a planet-sized game in which you can do everything.
Dude, I hope they learn. Learn, because
maybe. Did you see these tweets that came from Sean Murray? Sean Murray, the head of No Man's Sky's studio developer, Hello Games. You guys remember, this dude just bore all of the brunt because he was out there selling No Man's Sky just to the moon. It did everything, and he said it would do everything, and then when it didn't do anything, he ate shit on that until they fixed it.
Yeah, I mean, they're still releasing No Man's Sky content. Like, they've been fixing
nonstop.
It for 7 years.
So he posts, someone posts, there's an article covering this on Kotaku, and one of the comments on this article says, okay, Sean, don't overpromise. Just say what we've been working on. We've been working on something and show some clips. And he goes, quote, I'm making Earth. And Sean Murray posts a screenshot of this comment and just says, fuck. And then Cyberpunk 2077's official Twitter replies and says, hey, you can always fix it later.
No. Cyberpunk, no.
Amazing. This game is called Light No Fire. It's a survival role-playing game where players can adventure across an entire planet. They released a trailer without much else. There's obviously no date. Sean Murray's kept his mouth shut for the most part.
Shut up, Sean.
And I gotta say, having watched this trailer, the furries are gonna love this one. You could play as like anthropomorphic animals, like bunnies, like human-sized bunnies. Well, they're just humans with bunny heads. Like I said, the furries are gonna go nuts.
Yeah, they're really gonna like this.
It looks sick. I'd like to play this aside. I mean, that scene where they were all riding on their like weird horse things together. I don't know if this is a survival craft, but it's on just like, it is one procedurally generated planet, the whole big thing. And people are saying, oh, I don't know, but I'll tell you what, the world of Valheim seems like a planet sized. A Valheim world is so fucking big.
Like, and if you to travel even to an area that's not that far, is like
hours.
real minutes. Yeah, it's like 45 minutes.
Yeah, and so if you made that just twice as big because it's No Man's Sky and the developing team is 10x, not 10x, probably 5x the size of the guys that worked on. There's a lot more than 5 of them at Hello Games, I should say. And they have the experience. I don't think this is that outlandish. I think it sounds smaller and more feasible than No Man's Sky, if I'm being honest.
And honestly, I mean, No Man's Sky is great. Don't get me wrong. I have put a lot of time into No Man's Sky a couple different times, and I have fun with it every time. But yeah, this does the one thing is like you land on a planet and you don't explore it at all. You just
the whole thing is it's like mono, right? It's
yeah,
like
and you can like
same planet, the whole surface.
Yeah, and so like having a planet like Minecraft style with like different biomes and stuff like that, but planet sized, where you're just like, and I love procedurally generated. Like I'm a fan of that just because it makes replayability a lot better. I do like this. And I don't want to get excited for this because I know this is a gigantic undertaking.
Yeah.
And unless he says we've been working on this for the last 7 years, which I know they have not.
Oh, it's on Steam already. Cool.
So, I mean,
on my wish list now.
This is exciting, but so many caveats. JD is definitely not going to buy this day one. I can tell you that.
I don't know. Here's my thing.
Okay.
Here's my thing, dude.
Please buy it on day one then.
I could buy this on day one if people like it. I'll probably buy it on day 2. Because, I mean, no one in the game industry in the last 10 years has learned a lesson harder than Sean Murray and is still making games. Like, this dude has eaten more shit than I can think of fucking anyone, especially in the indie space. Yeah. And just was like, okay, my bad. And then just fixed it. And this whole team just like fixed it and buckled down and made it all right. I just think I think they're going to come out I think they're going to do this one Nintendo style. It's just going to come out one day and it's going to be amazing. Super fleshed out. And they're like, oh, it's early access. But you're like, damn, this is like a whole ass game. I don't think they're going to, I don't think they'll ever do that again. And I think they're going to do the opposite. And so I think what they did and what they showed and how hard they worked for 8 fucking years to restore trust after No Man's Sky's release.
I think they have a lot of good
they've earned my goodwill.
Didn't have before. I think they have a lot of framework that they didn't have when they released No Man's Sky.
Oh yeah,
that will come in handy.
And knowledge, just knowledge of how to build a procedurally generated game. And they
how to make variation, how to make it variable, how to add. And then the other thing that is exciting though is like if you remember, No Man's Sky did some pretty crazy actual events in real life.
Yeah.
Like I think you can see more stuff like that. I will say though, this game's downfall is going to be lack of of goal. No Man's Sky kind of didn't have a goal and then it did, and now it does. But this game's downfall is going to be lack of goal at the beginning. So that's my prediction. You just get in, you be like, this is pretty cool, but what am I supposed to do?
I don't know, dude. I saw a hummingbird mount, so I already have a goal. Period. I already have my own personal goal. They don't even fucking add one.
I want to be a rabbit person. A rabbit person riding a hummingbird.
A giant hummingbird.
Is that too much to ask for?
I'm sold. So. I'm in. Dude, I am weirdly in on this game. I am a day one, but I'm a pre-order this bitch.
It looks
pre-order.
It could be good. Edition. It could be good. This is what I want. So the
Light No Fire. I don't know, dude. What if this came out and it was just like the showstopper of survival games? Because we've been in this really great space the last 4 to 5 years that survival games have just been really solid and they've been refining, and we get every once in a while a Valheim crops up and you're like, wow, that came out of nowhere and it was awesome and it hit. And then there was even that Amazon one that you guys played that was good for a minute, New World, right?
Yeah, that was an MMO, but yeah, we played that.
And then all of a sudden and No Man's Sky was part of that.
I mean, we played if this game comes out and the multiplayer works, there's a good chance I'll be playing it.
I just think this could be great. Light No Fire. I'm stoked. I'm also stoked because I feel like Sean Murray's going to be making jokes self-deprecating jokes for the next until the game releases for years. And
we'll get some
I'm
good
here for it.
content out of it.
Yeah, this is going to be good stuff.
Here we go.
All right, be careful not to bite your own fingers because the bones are short on these. Riblets are just our little meat nugget stories. It's not enough for a full rib, just a little nib. But like I said, watch those fingertips. GTA 6 trailer just dropped, and I'm pretty sure Rockstar is going to get sued by half the state of Florida for copyright infringement of their life rights.
Dude, I've already seen. Do you see that one where
yes,
that
every
like,
one of
Rockstar,
the clips,
contact me.
Yes, every one of the clips in this fucking GTA 6 trailer, you can just go find a YouTube video
of
it actually happening in Florida. Like a gator like walks into a like a convenience store. These idiots on ATVs and dirt bikes are doing one of those rallies down the road.
The clown-looking, Joker-looking guy on the
some
news.
Lady twerking on top of a car that's driving.
This is all real stuff.
It's all shit. And they have videos of them side by side already of all these with like real stuff with the clips. The trailer looks just like madness. You know, it's exactly what you'd expect out of GTA 6.
GTA Florida. Yeah, this is going to be wild. I promise that.
The state was Leonida, which is the state where Vice City took place. So they're going back to, so I'm sure it's going to be like Vice City, but a lot more spread out. So they'll probably, I would guarantee you they have a fucking Disneyland stand in or Disney World stand in Everglades. You're gonna have the Keys. Probably you're gonna have a lot of crazy shit that you expect to see out of Miami, any Miami clone or homage. And they say it's going to be coming out Q1 of 2025, knowing Rockstar, knowing that every single GTA has been delayed since, I think, GTA 3. I would say expect Q3 of 2025 at the earliest.
At the
absolute
best.
earliest.
Oh, yeah.
Q4 is probably what they're like. That's our comfort zone because then we can still hit the Christmas shopping of 2025. But yeah, I think it would be in 2025 unless something goes egregiously wrong because we've been fucking waiting for this for fucking ever. And it doesn't look that much better than 5, honestly.
It honestly doesn't even need to be that much better.
And it doesn't need to. So I'm like, it shouldn't take that long to make. Especially since you guys are just going to throw the whole game out after 1 year and focus all your efforts on the online version.
The multiplayer.
Like, we know that it shouldn't take that long.
And you're gonna make $1 billion. Like
you're gonna make
whatever. You're gonna make so much money. You're gonna make so much money.
Speaking of making $6 billion, Epic Games has announced Lego Fortnite because Lego and Epic Games didn't have enough billions. Both of those companies are now going to make an extra $5 billion each.
My kids have been playing it.
Looks amazing. Is it play as well as it looks?
It's pretty good. It is a it plays really
it's like a Lego game, but
it is like Minecraft with Legos and Fortnite elements. Like
ridiculous.
It's honestly like it actually looks pretty fun. It does look pretty fun, and it's like survival elements, so you got to eat and like all that type of stuff. So it's a survival game. Honestly, if we played it, we'd probably have fun for a few nights.
So it's not battle royale.
No
Legos.
No, you're building and like
What the
but
shit?
This
is free, right? You just get this for free.
Yeah, it's just on Fortnite. My son clipped himself, him and his buddies. Look, these are. I'll caveat this by saying these are teenagers who have really dark humor. No, they built 2 gigantic towers and made an airplane to see if they could knock it over. Good they 9/11'd in this.
This is what happened, dude. They were born well after that event.
After
old history to them. That's like us making jokes in elementary school about like John Lennon getting shot.
Yeah, like that meant nothing to us.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
How old are we?
Dude. But yes,
people like fucking died.
But what I'll say is it worked. They just clipped it with the wing because they were on the plane. The building fell. The plane goes careening and crashes and breaks. Like the physics are there.
Sounds good. The game sounds good. Now I want to play it. Not necessarily for the 9/11 jokes.
No, you can make a penis if you want. They probably did.
I don't begrudge kids making those jokes. If someone that like remembers it makes those jokes, I'm like, dude,
Like, dude,
Uncool.
come on, man. You remember that.
You're
that
too
wasn't
old to
fun.
be making 9/11 jokes.
Yeah.
You remember it.
We were there. No, the other thing, just real quick with this release, is they also did, because Epic owns Rocket League. So there is a Fortnite Rocket League, like car racing game in there as well.
Fortnite is the metaverse. You just jump in, you open Fortnite, and you just are doing, it sounds like 60 different things.
Go to an Eminem concert, because they just had that.
What?
Go to an Eminem
Crazy.
concert, or play Lego Minecraft, or like, dude, they just do whatever they want, and they just
re-download,
and everyone plays it. It's weird, but yeah. So there you go.
That's crazy. Last up here, Twisted Metal was renewed on Peacock for season 2.
Well done.
Yeah, they just came out.
I've heard pretty good things about it. I didn't
It's
watch
on my
it
list
because I don't have Peacock.
Yeah, I have it. It's on my list. It's on my to-do, but
you got to watch it and let me know.
Yeah, I need a review. Well, I think I was also kind of like, well, is it good enough? And now that it's been reviewed or renewed, now I'm like, okay, now I'm in. At least I get 2 seasons out of it.
Yeah, you got to give me something.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Good for I'm more curious, like, does that mean they're ever going to get another game? Because they basically said the game series is done in 2012. And it's like 11 years later, they're going to have 2 banger seasons with like huge A-list celebrities.
Dude, 100% they're already working on a game.
They gotta have a game,
guarantee.
Right? Dude,
and once
David
it got
Jaffe,
renewed, they're like, we're doing it.
That's the thing, is like there's no infrastructure. The company that made it is gone. Like,
someone else will do it. Yeah, they put it out to somebody else. 100%, dude.
I don't even know what David Jaffe is doing now.
I don't even know who that is, so I don't know either.
He was the game director for like every Twisted Metal ever.
How do you even know that?
Because he was here in Utah. He lived here. That was Eat Sleep Play was his company, and it was based here in Utah. You know where the Gateway Mall is? Just like one building north of that in an old mill.
I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, and that's where they made the 2020 or the 2012 one. But yeah, and David Jaffe was a pretty controversial figure, and he was also created the God of War series. This guy created Twisted Metal of God of War, so you should know him. He's a pretty big name, but I don't know what he does now, and they're not gonna like pull his like old controversial ass out of retirement to have him make another Twisted Metal.
Or
so I think you're right.
Do we should get him on the show?
I think he'd fit. He'd come on here and just say vile shit and be like, oh well.
We'd be like, dude, that was on
David.
Brand. I don't know if you know this, but that was on brand.
Get out.
Kudos.
All right, kudos, our positivity segment. We like to give shout outs to things we're into. And I have a great shout out that I just discovered today, because Jenna and I was reading and Jenna was knitting because we're 80.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you old as
She was knitting a shawl. So
no, she wasn't, JD. I don't understand your life.
I helped her pick out the yarn.
Was she drinking a nice warm glass of tea with it?
Makes her too sleepy. Any tea after 6, dude, she's out.
Honestly, 70 plus club over here.
No, we were chilling, and I was like, dude, you should put on a Yule log. But then we remembered, because we don't have Netflix, because Netflix has all the fireplaces, the streaming fireplace things. Just like they have the Witcher one, if you remember, there was like the crackling. They're all on Netflix, and so I was like, oh well, I bet other places have them. And so I Googled it, and they're all old ass results because Google fucking sucks. Google is so useless. I don't want to see, if I Google something about
worse and worse
streaming service, I don't want to see an article from 2021 because nothing in that is fucking accurate.
Doesn't matter.
All those things have moved around. Some of those streaming services don't exist. Some of them have been merged together. 2021 might as well be 10 years ago in the streaming world. So Google surfacing those articles is like ridiculous. But I've searched for, in the past like 6 months, any articles on streaming's like Yule logs, and I found one that every service has one for the most part. Not all of them are great, but some of them are really good. We watched one on HBO that was Harry Potter, and it just like it does like 10 minutes in each house. So then like an owl flies you to the next one. and it's just like kind of peaceful. It's not even Harry Potter music. It's just like kind of nice background music. And then you're like watching an owl or like a crow just hanging out. The Rick and Morty one was okay, but Rick's like burping a lot, which is kind of like,
nah, you don't want that.
And then there was one on Hulu that was How to Train Your Dragon, and it was like pretty upbeat Scottish music, so it was a little less like relaxing, but it was like really cute because there's these little baby dragons that kept like wandering around. And I just want to give kudos to these streaming services that are putting these together. If you search for, I searched like fireplace and all this fire, whatever, search for Yule Log, YULE, and that's what pulls most of these up. They call them like streaming Yule logs. But I just like that everyone's doing one, because I like having it's so nice just having like a crackling fireplace up while you're, I guess, knitting a shawl. But yeah.
You know who else has one during Christmas season? Fortnite.
What?
Fortnite has joking.
a Yule log? Everything.
You can zoom in, but you get experience periodically as it pops up. You get XP.
What? That's so great. I love that. Yeah. I also found one that wasn't a Yule log one, but it was a fire on a beach. So you had like the fire crackling and the waves.
That's kind of nice.
Oh my God.
You know what? I've never done Christmas on a beach. I think I would enjoy that beach Christmas. One of these years I'll do it.
Can I come?
That sounds incredible. Honestly,
is the way to say.
That's what I want.
What else? What do you got?
Okay, mine's a redudos.
Love
Actually, a kudos that I had this summer, but I want to reiterate. This summer, I went, if you remember, I did a kudos for just like reconnecting with people from your past.
Mm-hmm.
I went and hung out with a old buddy, and like it was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, this week, one of my best friends in high school reached out because he was through his job. He had to go to Pocatello, and he's flying through Salt Lake. He's like, dude, I've got nothing in Salt Lake until 5:30. So you want to go to lunch? And so I was like, absolutely. Because again, he was one of my best friends.
Yeah.
Like one of the best men at my wedding type of thing. But I don't see him very much anymore because he lives in Vegas. And honestly, it reminds me of you, JD. He lives on Mount Charleston, up in the mountains. All of his neighbors are just houses owned by people who go visit it in the summertime.
The dream.
Like, lives up in the mountain.
Walk around naked everywhere.
Little cabin. Like when it snows, they have to put chains on their. And he's like, it's just an adventure. You know, everything's an adventure. And he smokes a lot of weed up there in the mountains. He just hangs out with his dog, him and his dog and his wife.
Dude, I'm gonna kill this guy and live in his house.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I was
like, gonna take his life.
He's JD. Like this is JD. This is what JD wants, and he just does it. Anyway, so I hung out with Matt, and I was like, "This is so great." So my kudos, my redudos, is just reconnecting with old people. It's not something that's comfortable for me, because I maintain relationships, but I don't like keep up with them at all. Like I never reach out to people from my past. Like, dude, what's going, like texting? I have friends who do that sometimes, but I just don't do that.
If I'm not constantly connected, that one's kind of tough.
And so like find somebody that you genuinely have like fond memories of, that you just like genuinely like, and just go to lunch with them if you can. If you're in the same area, just do it. Honestly, I've done it twice now this year. Both times has been just so great. It's like, the only way I can put it is it's like good for your soul. Like just having that connection again and being like, just having a real connection. These are not people that I'm not having like stupid surface level conversations. Like we're having good conversations about life and stuff. And it's like so good. And dude, I just come away invigorated, you know?
Just when we go down to Wendover and we're in the car for a couple hours shooting the breeze, and we talk every week, all day, every day. But being there and like having it, like you said, like a long conversation is so restorative for me, and I think for you. But that, what you're describing, is like that on just PCP. It's like 10 times because there's just so much more to catch up on.
Reconnect
and to talk
with
about.
Somebody. It's honestly so great,
good.
Especially when you're my age. Like I'm 40, right? A lot of my people from high school I've never seen again, right?
Yeah.
And I graduated in the year 2000, so. It's been 23 years since I've seen a lot of these people. Just reconnect. I'm serious. Go out of your comfort zone. Do it. I don't think you'll regret it. And if you're going to lunch, it's such a non-committal thing. You can leave in an hour if you want to. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's my kudos recommendation. Just do it.
I have one kudos. Or negative kudos.
Yes.
It made me so mad.
I love kudos.
I hated this so. I actually made the whole doc and got the whole doc ready this week because I wanted to put this kudos on it.
Dude, every now and then, it's usually a news story for me. I'm like, gotta make the doc because I gotta put this on there. But
this one was a kudos. I was so mad. I am so sick of seeing recaps. My 2023 recap, bitch. It's fucking December. It's like December 1st, the first week of December, and you are sending me a fucking recap. So I get one from Duolingo that's like, hey, you did Duolingo 320 days this year, and it's like, good job. I'm like, fuck you.
It's not even over.
Like 320. Fuck you. No, I didn't. I have 30 more days, motherfucker. And my SoundCloud recap is like, these are all the songs you listened to most this year. I was like, there is still 1/12 of the year. It's like 8% of the whole fucking year. And you guys are like, here's your recap, because you're like trying to get in on that. You're just so desperate that extra social media boost so you can like get that year-end bonus or whatever the fuck is driving this early release of these recaps. How is that? Reddit did the same fucking thing.
They all have now.
It's all just like a trend. Like they had to get them out. That should be just last week of December at the earliest.
No, honestly, it should be in January. Like after the new year.
It's so fucking
check
crazy.
Out last year.
Why are they fucking doing them right now? And by the way, the last week of the year is so golden. No one's doing shit. They're all just sitting at home, the feet up, with Christmas presents, relaxing, and they're on their fucking phones browsing social media. But you've already burned this rocket because you've already done all the recap shit and it's over. And you didn't even space it out between other companies. You just got so giddy and so overeager that someone else did it. You're like, do the recap, hit the button, send out the recap. We got to do it now. Spotify did it. You got to do it now. What the fuck? I hate that shit. This is like, what are you going to start doing the recaps? You just keep pushing them back? Do we get them in August when we start seeing Christmas decorations? What the fuck?
Yeah,
I don't even care about the recaps. I really don't. But Duolingo offended me. I got so mad at Duolingo for implying that I missed 40 days this year when I only missed like 10. Eat my poo, Duolingo. Fuck you stupid owl.
That I am with you on that. It's so pointless to me. I don't even understand why. There's got to be a reason. Maybe it's matching their fiscal. I don't know. Like it makes no sense.
I think they all just got like, it was just a trend and they had to do it. They just are followers. Spotify did it first and then everyone came out like in a week. All of them
within days. Like I've seen Spotify ones and then they're like, okay, well, here's
Spotify was too fucking early too.
Here's your Reddit recap now. And I was like, why?
All those I didn't. Yeah, I was like, whatever. It's just stupid you're doing it. But Duolingo, I was like, God damn you. God damn you.
That is offensive.
So bad.
dude, there's JD, you know there's 365 days in a year and you only got 320? Like, dude, you
Wait, one last thing before we go into the next segment. Guys, Blursty, speaking of the year-end review, on this podcast, we do it right. You don't even have the Blursty the Blursty winners until February some years.
Yeah.
Like, because that's how it's done. Because guess what? Blursty winners come in right screaming at the end of the year.
We go the full
year. Time.
We try to go the full year. We go as long as we can. We try not to do a Blursty episode sometimes like at Christmas, but we will because we're on break. We can do it.
Yeah, we'll do it.
But that's like it's usually like the last episode of the year though is a Blursty episode.
Why doesn't everyone just do things right like we do?
We honestly do everything right. It's crazy.
And it pisses me off that everyone doesn't just like follow our lead and just copy us exactly.
Don't try to beat us. You can't. Just try to copy us.
Just try to copy us. Try your best. So Blursties, if you guys have Blursty nominations, please reach out to us. We want your voicemails. We want you to send in voice clips or whatever beautiful things that you want to hear. This is where we want to hear you guys more than any time of the year on the podcast, because the Blurstein nominations are my favorite that we get from our listeners.
Me too.
I love listening to them.
You guys are clever. I like hearing your voices. I like hearing just your little info
ditties
about it. Just whatever you do.
And you guys have surfaced nominations that we've missed
absolutely
a number of times.
And sometimes you surface nominations that win too. I am going to call out one listener specifically that I definitely want to hear, and that's Agrilord, because I got to hear that sweet accent every 6 months at least. So
if not more. So please reach out. Like I said, it's probably best if you reach out on Discord just so we can coordinate, so we don't have people sending in the same voicemail for the same nomination, for example.
Reach out to me. And tell me which one you want to do.
Yeah.
And then I'll give it the green light or not. And we haven't had a big problem, but
no,
every now and then I have a couple people who want to do one.
Yeah.
So yeah. If you want one, if you really want one, let me know. And then we'll post the categories on Discord. But yeah, Discord is the best place to reach out. You can reach out to me on Facebook.
You can also send us an email at the3bitgamershow@gmail.com. However you want to reach out.
Yeah.
Just let us know. We want to hear those noms. Would you want to save it? You want to do dice? I mean, we're at 116, and I'm going to spend a minute on this.
Let's just do it. We'll be pretty quick.
Okay.
Let's do it pretty
quick. Okay. I don't have a ton.
Okay.
Pass it on to others, so that they too may be enlightened. Be kind, rewind.
All right, Be Kind, Rewind is this section where we go back and look into the past at the games that made us into the gamers we are today. And this week, because it's so on brand, we actually had this queued up for Thanksgiving, but we had it just sitting on the dock, honestly longer than any segment that's ever survived.
Usually if it sits for a couple episodes, we're like, we just can it. But this one, I was like,
we liked.
Do it. Yeah, it's a good one.
Be Kind, Rewind, playing games with your family. Dude, the holidays, everyone's there. Sometimes if you got family from out of town, it's the only time you see them the year. And what a better time to bust out the board games or any other games. You've got a captive audience. People are bored. They're full of food. Oh man, what are your playing games with your family's memories? Your Be Kind, Rewinds on this one.
So I can do one. So first off, growing up, my family always played games, but whenever we would do a lot of holidays when I was a kid with my grandparents. Like we'd come up, they lived in Sandy, Utah. We were in Vegas. We'd come up to Sandy to grandma's house, and like a lot of cousins would be there. We just have a lot of like family around. It's like tons of my cousins would be there for dinner because a lot of them lived in Utah. And so, but the adults, specifically the men, what they would do, and they were hardcore about Scrabble.
Oh my god!
And I mean hardcore.
This is a man sport, son.
Each of them had their own Scrabble dictionary.
What the
they
fuck?
had
We're Scrabbling in here.
A premium Scrabble board. They had like house rules about like how much you could use the dictionary. They all knew all the 2-letter words that were approved by Scrabble. Like it's crazy. It's crazy.
Wild.
So this is how crazy it was. This was around Christmas time. We're up in Sandy at Grandma and Grandpa's house, and my brother is at my cousin's house, and they're screwing around. They got some stairs, and he jumps down the stairs, grabs onto, you know how kids do. They grab onto like the ledge up top, falls, breaks his leg. Really bad break it ended up being. But at first they were like, dang it, Danny hurt his leg. And so you bring him back to grandma's house because he's like crying, right? He's in horrible pain. He's probably like 12. And
oh my god,
grandpa, my dad, and 2 of his brothers are all playing Scrabble.
Not gonna stop.
Grandpa's like, set him on the couch. So Danny's on the couch in horrible pain. Okay. And they're
bones sticking out.
They're playing Scrabble. And my grandpa says to my dad, Clay, shut that kid up. Because they're in the middle of a hardcore Scrabble game. They finished their game. Games of Scrabble are not short, especially with this crew. It was like 2 hours. So then they're finally like, I'll take him to the hospital. Multiple fracture, broke his growth plate. He was in a cast for 9 months, JD, in a wheelchair.
They're like, it would have been 6 months if you would have gotten here a little sooner.
Dude, this is how hardcore my family was. So when you say like board games in the past, like the first thing that pops in my brain is, oh crap, all the adults playing Scrabble while we get shuffled off into a room to watch Star Wars for the 40th time because that's the only movie Grandma had.
So if you pull out Scrabble, does Danny just start shaking?
Oh, we don't play.
Yeah.
I think we all have different types of PTSD around Scrabble, but also my dad is so good at it at this point. It's like not even worth it. Like we know he's going to beat us by 100 points. So it's like, Scrabble, we don't even try. I haven't played Scrabble in 10 years because I'm just like, yeah, that game's that's pointless to play Scrabble. Even if I was playing with my kids, like I'm like, nah, that game's pointless. My dad's going to win somehow. So,
dude, speaking of parents just auto winning, have you ever heard of a game called Cranium?
Yeah, of course.
So
I have it.
So yeah, I haven't played it in decades, but we had this game. We would always play games on Christmas Eve when I was a kid, and that was whoever won the game on Christmas Eve got to walk down the hallway first.
Oh my gosh, dude, I love that.
Fireplace. So we had a double setup. We had the fireplace and the living room, and that's where the stockings
upstairs,
were.
Right?
Well, yeah, all upstairs. Yep. And so you'd go and you'd get your stocking and you'd go through all your stocking stuffers and have so much fun. And then you would all walk into the main main dining room or whatever. Not dining room, living room. That's where the tree was, and that's where all the presents were.
Yeah.
Okay. And so sometimes we did a 2-tiered thing. Like if you win this game, you got to go walk into the stockings first. And you wanted to walk into the presents first because everyone, like a full stocking, you don't really see anything. Yeah. But, you know, sometimes you turn that corner, you walk toward the tree, and you see like a huge box, and you're like, who got the huge box this year? Box? I don't know. Or you just see a pair of skis that are like gently wrapped, and you're like, someone got skis. So we would play these games on New Year's or on Christmas Eve, and that was Cranium was one year that we played, and I'll never forget this because I was like, what the fuck? So Cranium, if you guys aren't familiar with, it's a board game that's like a combo of like Pictionary, charades, Trivial Pursuit, Scrabble. You've got different like things that you can like draw, and then there's a little cup of clay that you can use to like make a clay thing that people try to guess. Yeah, you sculpt something. So my mom and dad were on a team for this game we were playing, and I remember my mom gets the card and she goes, and she casually, my mom was not artistic. She really wasn't. She didn't have like an art. She would draw like holly on our lunch bags for December when she would send us a lunch in school, and that the holly was like the extent of her art.
It's like skills. the two little berries and then a couple like spiky leaves.
Couple leaves. She nailed it on the holly. So when she reaches for this clay, we're like not really expecting Michelangelo's David. And so she pulls out one, she rolls out one long line, and she's just doing this casually, like puts one down, starts rolling out the second line, and almost the second she puts the second line of clay down, I thought she might be building something, and she was like preparing a few straight pieces of clay to like turn it into a stick figure.
Like roll them around, do something.
Yeah, exactly. She puts down 2 lines, and my dad goes, "Oh, track and field," and she goes, "Haha, exactly," just like she expected. And it wasn't like they were like on like every single guess like that, but that one was like stuck with me. I was like, how the fuck? And she just acted, they both acted like, well, yeah, it was the
look like at it.
Duh.
What? There must be some kind of old track and field symbol. I gotta look this up now because
I don't know. Just 2 lines. It was the track. She's like, yeah, it looks like the track, and my dad just got it.
I don't know.
You're married that long. You just get a few just random supernatural-esque moments.
You guys just know. There's just something you just know.
There's like stuff that's borderline magic, but you're like, yeah, we've been together for 20, 30 years. Shit happens. What other good stories do you have? Or is that,
so there's one that we started actually pretty recently, like 3 or 4 years ago. this is 3 years ago, probably. Anyway, my mom was heavily involved with the Festival of Trees here in Utah. It was like a huge thing that she did. She loved it. She loved all this Christmas crafting stuff. It's like a craft. I don't know. I don't actually like going very much, even though they've got this huge thing dedicated to her now. Like I should go, but I just
even that
going.
couldn't get him to go. He's like, no, I just don't like. I aggressively don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like being here. So many people. There's so many people.
No, it's gross. I don't like that.
So we one year we went, and she's like, everyone, I'm going to give you all, each family, $100 to buy stuff, because like we had to buy stuff because it was right after they kicked it off back up, like when after COVID. Probably 2020 at the end of it, right? And so they kicked it back up, but they were like, they need to make money. So like everyone gets $100 and buy stuff at this like Elf Emporium thingy, just random crap that people donated. And we were like, okay, here's what we're doing. So we're gonna pick the most. We played a game. Whoever won got to pick the most random crap they could find that was that became the item that you had to keep displayed in your house until next year. So my brother won, and he found, you know what Yadro is? That Spanish like ceramic art, like figurines and the Spanish ceramic stuff. Okay. It's pretty expensive, but he found a Yadro, Lladro figurine. There's 2 of them, but the one it's this little boy playing with a train. But
I don't like these. These are like old people things. Yeah. They have curio cabinets full of.
Yes, absolutely. And he has this little boy's playing with a train on the ground, like laying down, playing with it. But he's got his butt in the air aggressively.
No, I don't fucking like these things. Yeah.
Like it looks
this is great. You had to put this in your house?
It looks horrible. And my brother named it El Scandaloso because it looks real scandalous. And it's this figurine of this little boy playing with the train with his butt so high up in the air, like in a. You remember Worm Jerry in Rick and Morty? How he keeps putting it. It's like that.
Stop.
It's like that. So it's like that. So we find this thing. We're like, this is it. So we buy it. And now every year when we get together, we play a game. And we're like, this is the game. Loser has to display El Scandaloso in their house for a year.
God damn it.
Until next year. I need to find a picture. Incredible. I need to find a picture of it because it's not great. So so that's one of our other traditions. And then real quick, I wanted to do this thing because I couldn't find it.
If this is the one I think it is. Why is he late? Is it this? Is it this?
You gotta send it to me and I'll see. That's the one.
He's doing like a fucking Playboy cup center pole. Like
it's pose. Even worse when you look at it from the other angle. It is bad, JD.
Oh, they have all the other angles. They have it from the back.
Yeah,
he's not like good. Popping his ass out.
And
this is $300 on eBay. How much did you guys pay for the El Scandal?
Dude, I bet we bought it for $20.
Oh, these things have no value.
Some old lady probably donated it and we got Scandaloso. Anyway,
I hate it.
So yeah, that's our next tradition.
How long you been doing this for?
Since I think 2020. I haven't gotten it. And the rule is you have to display it prominently. You can't just like hide it. It is on your mantle. Like dude, it's main room mantle.
This is my favorite thing ever. This is great. I don't even want to do anymore. I want to just wrap on that. That is amazing. Let's move on to dice. Scandaloso.
Dice of Destiny.
Dice of Destiny is this game we play at the end of every episode. We roll a 6-sided dice to see who will be responsible for rolling the Dice of Destiny itself. A 20-sided dice with 20 different game genres assigned to it. That person then rolls another 6-sided dice to figure out their budget. Then they find a game in that price point, in that genre, pick it, play it, and review it. A couple weeks ago, I rolled a EGS free game. And the EGS free game that week was a game called Deliver Us Mars. And boy, howdy, was I so appreciative. I was bitching because I've got like 3 or 4 Dice of Destiny games in a row now. And this one, I was like, it made it up for everything because this is something that I wouldn't have because I'm not like Peterson in that I'm not as good at getting on EGS and getting the free game every single week. I get it probably every other week. Or if someone, Jeff or Peterson or someone hits me up and tells me, then I'll do it. But for the most part, I'm like, not that good at doing it. So, this one forced me to look at it, forced me to download this game, forced me to play it. All things I probably wouldn't have done without the Dice of Destiny. And
Beautiful.
I loved it. You guys, I love Deliver Us Mars. This game was so good. It is a third person, but it does switch into first person on occasion. Third person kind of action adventure platformer. And there's no guns in it. There's no violence in it. There's no combat whatsoever in it. And I loved it. And I was kind of asking myself, why don't more people take this approach? But then I remembered I did play a game that fit all those categories previously called Infra. And I believe Snorgle really liked that one too. But that one, the story just didn't grip me as hard as this one did because that one was like, you got to go find the story. And you got to go like kind of read entries and kind of put the puzzle pieces together and kind of figure it out. This one was spoon fed to you. It's like, here's the story. It's happening right now. Here's a bunch of cutscenes. Here's a bunch of like holograph diaries that you find that are essentially other cutscenes. It was just a really story driven game. So the way this is set up is you are you're I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. This is a direct sequel to a game that I didn't even know existed.
Me neither. You said it was a sequel, and I was like, it was? To what?
Called Deliver Us the Moon. And what's so crazy is that Deliver Us the Moon, from what I was able to glean from reading plot summaries online, it left a ton of cliffhangers that were answered in this game.
Oh, nice.
And it was only like a 4-hour campaign. It came out in 2019. So 4 years later, they released this game that's bigger, it's longer, and it answers all the questions from the first one. And I was like, oh, that's cool. What's really cool about this one is it basically kind of sums up what happened in Deliver Us the Moon. And so you just kind of start, and the idea is you are this little girl whose dad leaves for Mars and he abandons you. And he abandons the whole fucking Earth. And he takes this super spaceship that could have provided enough energy and other good things that help the Earth heal, because it's like 2060 and the Earth's falling apart, obviously, and everything's gone to shit. And your dad is supposed to help save the Earth. Instead, he just bounces and takes the ship that he built to save the Earth with him.
Jerk.
And you're like, what the fuck? So, spoiler, because the title. Guess what? Your dad took the ship to Mars. 10 years later, he sends out a distress beacon back to Earth, and everyone now knows that motherfucker took our spaceship to Mars. So they throw you on a spaceship with a crew. You're not like leading the crew. They just put you along because they figure you could sweet talk your dad, and they send you to Mars to go fetch him. And that's the setup for the game. You show up on Mars and you find out what your dad has been doing, and you try to figure out what the hell happened. The story is what got me to keep playing this game. In fact, the story was insanely addicting. It was like cliffhanger after cliffhanger, every chapter of it. And I'm really into stories right now, as Peterson knows. I'm reading a lot of Sanderson. So a good story is something that I'm like geared for. And that's what this provided, is every time I would wrap up something, I'd be like, what happens next though? And from what I read of the first one, Deliver Us the Moon, everyone played it in one sitting because they were like, I'm not going to walk away. Like, it felt like what I told Jenna. It felt like watching a miniseries that I was part of. It was because I didn't have to, like I said, I didn't have to worry about shooting people or running away from certain death or X, Y, or Z. The main gameplay was that you are either walking or climbing, and you climb with these with ice picks. And it's cool because you control each individual arm. And so you climb with ice picks, or you are just running around, or you're floating inside or outside of a space station. You do spacewalks outside of a spaceship to use your like laser to like cut through scrap that's like fucked up your spaceship, and it feels so amazing. Like I love a good spacewalk, but this one, like you just turn around and there's Earth or there's Mars, and you're like fixing your spaceship in orbit, and it is very, very immersive. And so, but then you just go into a cutscene. So it felt like I said, like a mini series, but you get to do the coolest parts. Like kind of like For All Mankind. For All Mankind is most 90% of that series on Apple TV is just people talking, but 10% of it is really cool space stuff. And if you got to actually play that part, it would be extra cool. And that's what this felt like. The idea here is that you're an engineer that knows how to work a specific type of wireless energy beam, and that's why they bring you along. And so that's a lot of the puzzles, is getting the beam to point this direction and then go this direction, and how you kind of make them all go to the right door and power the right thing. And that's the idea. And then the other puzzles, they're not really puzzles. You sit in the cockpit at launch, and they're like, okay, well, you do a check on this. So you got to do, and you click these 3 buttons and then raise a slider. And they're like, all right, well, now we need you to release this stage of the rocket. So you like, turn this dial and that dial. They're like, okay, we need to adjust the gas mix in the cockpit with nitrogen and oxygen and all this stuff. And so you're doing kind of just spacey stuff. You just feel like you're like a fucking astronaut. There's no like real attempt to make it super stressful, other than some of the parts where you're climbing. Some of the climbing parts are pretty nerve-wracking, but otherwise it's really solid. It was 10 hours. I beat it in 10 hours all the way through, and it was the perfect length. Honestly, probably could have gone another 5 if the story was there, but they didn't overstay the welcome. They didn't stretch it out. They added absolutely zero like filler. This game had no filler at all. There's not like backtracking and drive this thing and do all this dumb stuff. It was so much like every single thing, every single segment needed to be in there, and the story was being told in a way that was paced well. Like I said, they could have just spilled all the stuff that happened, and you'd be like, oh, that's kind of an interesting story. But the way they told it, and the way you're finding things and discovering what's gone down on Mars and elsewhere, I thought they did they're storytellers, man. The guys that made this game, I really think are storytellers first. And they might not know it because they're game developers, but that seemed to be the priority of the game, and they did a great job with it.
Nice.
It's $20. So I would say I got it for free, obviously. I think it probably goes on sale. It just came out. This just barely came out. I think it's on Steam for, let's see, deliver Mars. Oh, it's $30. I'm sorry, it's $30. So knowing that's the length, and even me myself, I'm not always into a story game like this.
You got to be in the mood.
So I would say wait for a sale, unfortunately, just because $30 is steep, just because it just barely came out. But I think this will go on sale a lot, and it'll go on sale frequently.
Yeah, every time. This feels like a game that goes on sale every time.
And I think that you guys should definitely put this on your wish list if you like a good story game. If you like space stuff like me, that's what did it for me. The Earth's dying, and the solutions lie in space. That storyline for me, that's easy. I'm always here for that shit because that's what I believe. Those are my religious beliefs.
These are JD's deeply held beliefs are just in line.
Our future is in space, or a species dies on this hellish rock. That's it. So seeing that, being able to play as part of that, the story had me engrossed because of the characters. Like, I hated my dad so much. I hated him so much, the whole fucking story. But your character is being driven to find him because you're his daughter. He's your dad. Yeah. And so you're like, that motherfucker better have a good damn reason why he said this shit, why he did these things. And so like that driver was really powerful to get me through the story. But it's good. It's a good hook. It's a good game. I mentioned to Peterson the reviews on it were kind of middling, which I don't think were fair. IGN critiqued the graphics fuck you. This game almost melted my GPU.
It looks great.
It is great. It is amazing.
What did they want?
I don't know what the fuck. There was some like clipping issues, which they've since fixed. There were bugs. Oh, fuck off, IGN. Like, what the shit? I don't know. I think, and then people said the puzzles were repetitive. I'm like, that is the game. That's the puzzle type. It's like, did you play Portal? And you're like, I just was sick of making portals. I wanted to have a different type of
something
puzzle.
else. At least I wanted a gun to shoot a puzzle.
And I'm like, you're so stupid. This is not about the puzzles. Were just a way to explain your character being there and her level of expertise, because ultimately you have to connect one of these beams with one of the super spaceships that your dad stole. And so like, it's not just the puzzles. It's like, that's the story. And it doesn't overdo it. There's not too many puzzles. It's just, it makes it a game. Otherwise, it'd be a walking sim if it wasn't for this, which honestly, this could have been a pretty good fucking walking sim. The world of Mars was amazing. I will say this is my single solitary nit of this game, and it is big. It is significant. I don't know if the developers know what Mars is. There is a scene where there's a section of the game where you go not very far, like a 5-minute car drive from where you start, which looks like Mars, and it's all Marsy. And you're in like the snow, and it's like snowing. And I'm like, guys, if it snowed on Mars, we would be living there right now. If it snowed on Mars, we could just live there permanently forever. Like, it would be no problem, because there would be there had the atmosphere to support that. No issue. And then there's like flowing liquid water when you go underground. And then also there's sandstorms that are just absolutely insane. If you guys know, yes, there are sandstorms on Mars, but you would barely even notice them because they're massive, like 100 miles, 200 miles wide. And it's just like slightly more particulate matter in the air. It's not like a storm that like is blowing, because the atmosphere is so thin. There's not like really wind. So there was a lot of storms that drove the plot, honestly. And then the snow part. Snow on Mars, I was like, guys, what?
They take some real creative liberties there.
And that was the only, otherwise, I wouldn't say this was hard sci-fi. In fact, I'd say this was pretty soft sci-fi. But I was like, snow on Mars? That was the one nit where I was like, fuck you. It wasn't requisite. I think they just wanted to show it off. They just wanted to do a snow level, and it looked great. But it was like, where am I?
Remember where we are, guys. Remember where we are. This isn't No Man's Sky. You're not just making a world.
Yeah, exactly. So other than that, it was amazing. I'm excited for what these guys keep doing. And I hope they keep building on this. Like I said, Deliver Us the Moon, Deliver Us Mars. I don't know if they're going to do another Deliver Us, like whatever. This game
Deliver Us Jupiter.
This game did leave a crazy cliffhanger, but it was, I don't know. And they could just be done, and that'd be fine. I'd be like, that's a fine ending for the two. But they just got a huge chunk of cash from EGS for putting this on their store for free, and the launch has been good. And on Steam, it's very positive, and all reviews are mostly positive. Let's see, 81% in the last 30 days are positive, and 74% total are positive. So yeah, people like this game. It's dope. It looks great. The voice acting is actually really good. The voice acting was really good. There's a few moments, I think, in any game there's awkward lines, but for the most part, it was really good. So yeah, this is a good one. This is, like I said, put it on a sale unless you are really into a story game right now.
Or you should have downloaded it for free when EGS was giving it out. Like, what are you doing? Go in there and get the free games.
All right, so I'm taking one number.
JD gets 1. I get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, here we go.
Because JD has had like 3 in a row, I think.
And I mean, I have the time. I really do to play these, but it's a 2.
I was gonna say it's gonna be a 1.
If it was a 1, I would take it. The dice,
the dice,
destiny.
Yeah. Sometimes we skew the destiny a little bit.
Do you want to roll your own 20?
Yeah, here we go. I got my red D20. Okay. It's a 20.
Oh,
a nat 20.
Son of bitch!
A nat 20.
Okay, well, you get to pick the dice of destiny. When it gives you a 20, you choose your own destiny. You get to choose something off your backlog or literally anything else you want.
Okay, I got
whatever you want.
I got some backlog situations I can play for sure.
I can't believe your first roll in 6 weeks plus is a fucking 20.
You're so close. You're so close. Okay. Yeah, I got games to grab. Although sometimes I do like the dice kind of dictating what genre, so I can.
Oh yeah.
I go through the Steam store and I'm like, dude, I want to play that. I want to play that. Look, the top new and trending game is called Pimp Life Sex Simulator. So,
Sounds like
I
your
got
game
choices.
is made for you.
I got
Dude,
choices to make.
I'd be in trouble because my backlog is 71 games long right now. So this wouldn't help me at all. This would do nothing for me.
Well,
I'd have to play Pimp Hand Slut Finder. What is that game called?
You were right there. You pretty much got it. I don't know. It's just I looked at the new and trending, and that's the first one. So I don't know. There's always one at least. Okay. All right.
Pimp Life Sex.
That doesn't even sound
all right.
good.
So Peterson will have any game he wants to play next week for us. That's it.
Okay.
Thanks for sticking around. I know this one was a little long. To play us out, we've got some music from Deliver Us Mars. The song is Eden.
All right.
Okay. I'm JD logging off.
And this is Peterson going AFK.
Get those Blursy noms in. Do it.